Well, you're right, Matt. These are unsettled times. It's incredible that we're suffering through a 100-year pandemic, and now at the same time, we just got hit with probably the third worst electric storm we've had, by which I mean third most outages we've had, certainly since Alfred. Fortunately, spared a lot of the flooding. We weren't along the water. It was low tide, so that we did better on that front. But we do have well over 700,000 people without power. I think that's like 40% or something. Obviously, the southwest area hit the most severely. I've been on the phone this morning with UI and Eversource. They have over 1,000 crews out there. Number one priority is safety. They're checking on all the lines. If you see a line down, don't touch it, but call 911. Make sure Eversource and UI can be there. They can secure that situation, and that will be the priority for early part of today. And then we move into a recovery mode. Focus on those places that are most severely hit where you can make the biggest difference. Of course, I said, well, how long is this going to take? And I got to tell you, I don't want to overpromise. So it's going to take, at least a few days. I was interested that as we learn to think regionally as a state, Eversource and UI have been doing this, mutual aid. Northern New England was not hit nearly as hard, so they have crews coming down from Vermont and New Hampshire. So we'll be able to augment our 1,000 crews out there, very soon, within the next day or so. We've got a fair number of roads that are still down. You can go to, what is it called? Safe Roads, the site. Take a look at that. We're getting those cleared as quickly as we can. Obviously, Merritt was down. Metro North is still down, everything except for Stamford to New York. They got the final 400 people out of New York City last night. But we still have a long way to go. We didn't need this. We're going to do everything we can to get power up as soon as we can. In the meantime, there are 3 or 4 shelters that are up and operating if you really can't, survive at home. But it's obviously much better, given this pandemic, to stay safe and stay at home. And with that, anybody else like to add to? That's great.
Governor, how do you plan to hold the utilities accountable to whenever they're able to come up with some sort of restoration plan? I know that that's not going to be today, but
Well, I'm meeting with the CEO of Eversource later this afternoon. I think that's going to be down at their headquarters, and doing everything we can to impress upon them the urgency. I've got seniors at home with no electric or no energy, and I got to make sure it's not for a lack of manpower that they're getting everybody on the ground as fast as they can. And I'll be looking for a schedule on that and see if we can hold them to that. I think what little do we know that this is going to be a storm that had just really tectonic winds in places, not just the 74-mile-an-hour tornado, but really hit hard, trees coming down. Fortunately, we just trimmed a lot of the trees along the Merritt Parkway, and lo and behold, they were dropping down in 4 or 5 places. Even the Merritt was closed. I don't think anybody could be totally prepared for this level of extreme weather, but I think they're ramping up very quickly now. Like I said, 1,000 crews out there.
It's early to judge their response, but what is the plan as far as an after-action report and analysis? The state's been through this a number of times, from Irene, Sandy, and so forth. But is there a plan to do that kind of analysis, in the coming weeks?
Yeah, I think you got to learn from what happened, so you're even better prepared next time around. Look, we had the unified command. We had all the different branches of government. We were there virtually, again, at EOC. The EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, which has been open virtually round the clock since March. And they were both there. Rather than do a debrief on what went wrong, we're going to make sure we make things right for the next 3 or 4 days. Then we'll have plenty of time for what ifs.
Governor, with so many people being without power, there might be a tendency for more people to congregate, maybe go to a neighbor's house where they do have power, or one of these cooling centers or shelters. So does that concern you in the middle of a pandemic?
That concerns me a lot. I mean, you got to stay home as best you can. unless you're really in a duress situation. I understand that the shelters, the 3 or 4 that we have up and operating, people are carefully social distancing as best we can. Only one of them has got a lot of load, which I think is in Danbury right now. We were watching that like a hawk. I did notice on my way driving here that the Dunkin' Donuts was mobbed. Obviously, a lot of people whose electric aren't working that well.
And do you think there's a rhyme or reason for why Connecticut, of all the Northeast states, is seeing the most outages? I mean, is our utility system perhaps more exposed than other states?
Well, I think New Jersey was hit really hard too, and I think it's more a matter of the nature of the windstorms that hit us. And hit us hard. I think we're as well prepared as anybody. Look, I come out of the cable TV world. I mean, I can tell you, if you buried the utility wires, this wouldn't happen. It doesn't happen in places like Britain where they've been buried for 100 years. But that's a long-term solution.
Do you have any confirmation from the Weather Service about tornadoes stuff like that?
I don't have that confirmation.
Do we know what Eversource estimated as far as outages are concerned? In 2011, they estimated that only 100,000 people would lose power and over 900,000 people lost power. So, was there?
I can't tell you that either, Christine. I can find out for you, though.
Okay.
It's pretty easy for them to tell me what their estimate was after the fact. We certainly had to do a better job then of getting our message out. I mean, we had it out on broadcast TV nonstop. Doesn't work if your electric's down. Cell service has been pretty shoddy. You know, I told everybody at a minimum, at least call someone you love or call somebody in need to make sure they're okay. I give people that same message today. A siren's something I got to look at. Was that if I understood the question right, we're going to declare state of emergency at about 11 o'clock. And that's going to do everything we can so I can utilize the guard more effectively, and also puts us on notice that we may be eligible for some FEMA funding, which will go right to our municipalities who need it. Thanks, everybody.